years. Nelson's been on board with us. Our company's been in business for 16 years. And then also to the right of me, I've got Marshall. He's our vice president, and he runs our operations and works with our clients and comes up with all kinds of innovative ideas.
Been here 13 weeks.
He's been here 13 weeks. So don't let his tenure here fool you. You've actually been in the industry for how long?
Almost 25 years, marketing and technology.
So 25 years of experience. So our bench is pretty, we've got some depth on our bench and we've got some smart people here. So anyways, welcome to the webinar, and we're just going to kick it off. I'd like to, I guess, start with asking Nelson a question. Nelson, you've been working with all kinds of different clients and different types of businesses. Your breadth and depth of knowledge in different industries is impressive. But generally, if there's a small business owner out there, or manufacturer, or some different types of industries, give us some ideas of what companies should be focusing on as they plan out their 2017 marketing initiatives.
Sure. I think the biggest thing is what you just said. They need to start planning. I don't remember who said it, but plan the work and work the plan. I think as you really start to think about what you're going to do for marketing, start to write down ideas. Look at what you've done in the past. Look at what it's worked. Look at what hasn't worked. Take inventory of what you're currently doing, what you've tried in the past. I would start to just get everything on paper in terms of all the possibilities of the initiatives that you can run, and then start prioritizing. And prioritize based on your own experience. Prioritize based on others in the industry. Obviously, you can do your research, but really creating a plan is going to be the first step in marketing for 2017.
Great answer. One of the things that we do as a company every year, and then we tweak it quarterly, is we sit down and we try to get off-site, get into a conference room, and we brainstorm. Usually this takes about 2 days, a process of 2 days to really think through what has been working, what hasn't been working, and we call it start, stop, and continue. So what should we start doing is a great question to ask yourself and your team. What should we stop doing? What is ineffective or not working or outdated? And start, stop, and continue. What should we continue doing during that process? So 3 really good questions to kind of ask yourself during that process. So I'm going to kind of turn over to Marshall here. Marshall, you've met with a lot of different companies right now. What does people seem to be focused on, or what's important to some of the organizations that you're working with currently?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is with the internet, content is king. And it's so important to have content, to be able to tell your story, be able to tell your value proposition. People are doing their research before they make buying decisions. People want to be educated and want to know more about your product. And the more educated the buyer, typically the higher the sale. So they typically they buy more stuff, but also by the time they meet with you, they've already done a lot of research, and they know a lot of value and a lot of what they're looking for. And so we tell our clients to really focus on content. A lot of clients just, they'll look for a tool, or, there is no magic bullet. It takes a lot of rolling up the sleeves, getting the elbow grease, and writing content and telling your story. And again, that all leads to great search. And that's how people find you. You can tell your story, and then it engages your sales team to close the deal.
Give us some different practical ideas. What is content? Because there's people out in the audience that may not even understand what that is.
Yeah, content is everything. We'll talk to a client and they'll start just talking about their business or their products, and a lot of times we'll just start recording it and just capture it, and we can turn that into a blog post. We can turn that into an infographic. We can use the video and do some sort of a video snippet to put online. It's just anything about their company or their processes, or anything that tells the story of their business that would make someone want to do business with you, because people do business with people.
Absolutely. So I couldn't agree more with Marshall. Content is king. We've been hearing it for years. If you haven't, if this is your first time, it really is king. Yeah, you have to have content. You can't really do much else.
And I'll piggyback on that. You said there's no silver bullet. There isn't a silver bullet to the content, but the silver bullet is the planning of the content.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are so busy in all of the other things they have to do in their business that content's the last thing on their mind. One of our clients that we worked with a few years ago, before they finally developed habits and developed processes to create content, they used to call content a 4-letter word. It's very difficult to do on a whim. You have to plan it, you have to schedule it out, you have to get team members involved because they're subject matter experts in your company. If you're a small team, tap into some other subject matter experts or do the research. It's an arduous process, but putting the time and planning the time is the silver bullet to at least starting the process of content development.
One of the things that we do for our partners, for our clients, we consider them partners. We work with them hand in hand, and one of the things that we do on a regular basis is we plan out their content. We actually have a content calendar, and every time that we meet with them once a month or so, we want to say, all right, what's our next piece of content? What are some different ideas of content? Like Marshall was talking about, a blog post can be content, a snippet, a quick video. This webinar is content. So there's all different types of content. We just have to be creative. And then, it does help, obviously, if you've got some people to guide you on what the best forms of content are. The next thing I kind of want to switch gears on, though, is, content is obviously first. You have to plan and prepare and put together the content, so then you can expect to win. But also, the next area of that is, where does the content go? What do we do with it? What are what we call the channels? So I want to talk to Nelson again, if you don't mind, and just kind of explain. Once you've got really strong content, you've got amazing information that people are going to gravitate to and they want to listen to. How do you get that into the viewer's eyes or into your target market's eyes?
Yep. Well, there's many different ways. Obviously, you want to put it on your website. The website serves two audiences. It serves your target customers that find you online, and it serves Google. Google loves content, and people love content. Now, so putting it on your website, that could be on your actual pages, your product pages, your service pages, your About Us page, your client success stories page, or even on your blogs. On social networks, obviously you want to find the ones where your target customers are from a social network perspective, but certainly on social media sites you want to distribute your content out there. There's lots of tools. It's a different webinar altogether, and ways to post content on social media sites. Sharing them via email. You want to send emails to very segmented and targeted lists. So content can really go everywhere, and you can use the same piece of content to multiple channels. Now, one of the things you want to make sure you do as you're using these different channels that we're talking about is you want to make sure that you have tracking mechanisms in place so that you can see what type of content is resonating on which marketing channel. This will help you, as Chris alluded to earlier, have the start, stop, continue conversation. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that's great. And one of the things that we believe in is we have a concept that we call marketing gravity. And really, if you can kind of take a bicycle wheel and have all these different spokes, kind of the idea here is you want to have as many different areas or channels as possible. Each one of those is a spoke. Search engine optimization can be a spoke. A newsletter can be a spoke. AdWords on Google or Facebook advertising right now is something we're super hot on.
LinkedIn is a spoke.
All these different channels or all these different areas, because eventually, if you can get enough spokes out there, nobody's smart enough to know where your next bit of business is going to come from necessarily. But if you have enough of it spread out, enough of your content covering all of these different spokes all the way around your business, eventually it's going to gravitate towards you. And I guess that kind of takes me into my next question. I didn't realize that was going to be my next question, but here it goes. So once you've actually got people to come to you, what are some good ways to kind of convert opportunities? What are some ways that we can take that business and turn it into a real opportunity?
Well, once they engage with you, we talked a lot about nurturing campaigns and start sending them a series of emails to not just immediately go for the sale, but kind of work them through the buyer's process until finally you get to the right time and you can ask for the deal. We have tools that we offer our clients that allow them to convert traffic to the website into leads, or we can add them into a direct mail campaign or an email campaign, or we can even convert them through tracking phone numbers like Nelson mentioned. So we absolutely want to be able to track the conversions of folks that come to a website and drop them into a sales process and ensure that the sales leads are followed up with quickly too. That's one of the key things, is as soon as you receive an opportunity, make sure you follow up with it so quickly, because they begin decaying immediately.
Yeah, it reminds me of an MIT study. You could probably
2009, MIT and Inside Sales. they found that if you don't respond to inquiries that come from the web within an hour, your chances of putting them into a sales process decrease by a factor of 6. So that means you're 6 times less likely to enter a sales process with someone if you don't respond to them within the first hour.
So if anyone out there has a salespeople or a sales team, just take this little bit of advice, and I guarantee you'll grow your sales with this one piece of advice alone. Make sure that you have a way to contact the people that contact you within 10 minutes. Have your leads sent to your phone. Pick that phone up and call them while they're still on your website. Make sure that you're finding ways to interact with those potential buyers, because people are absolutely impatient. They've got so many other websites they can go to. They've got so many options. The internet just gives them all this flexibility. So the last thing you want to do is spend all this money on marketing, bring them back to exactly where you want them, which is generate a lead, and then you don't call them. That's crazy.
It's crazy. It happens all the time, though.
And I guess we're passionate about this because we work with so many companies over the years, and we're like, please just call the leads that we've generated for you. Please call these rare gold nuggets called customers or potential customers and follow up with them. So the quicker you can follow up with your clients or your potential clients, the more business you're going to convert, and ultimately you're going to grow your business.
And I'll add to that, one of the things that happens when you call someone really quick within that first 10 or 15 minutes where they filled out a form or had a conversation on your website or they emailed you, when you call them back that quickly, you set a precedent. You set a wow factor right away that these people are on top of their business, and people want to do business with people who are on top of their business. So immediately you set that precedent by getting in touch with them quickly. And I've heard so many times, we eat our own, what is it? We heard that we eat our own dog food.
Yep.
When I call people back, I'm usually calling them within 15 minutes, and they're like, wow, that was fast. And
That's
that
it.
impressed, right?
It contributes to that top of mind awareness. They remember, wow, company X called me back immediately.
Yep.
And it really, is etched in their mind how quickly you called them back. And when it comes time to make a buying decision or something like that, they're going to remember.
That's a fact.
They're the guys that call me back immediately.
And contrast that with people who probably won't call them back. There's a lot of people, if they're getting bids or calling multiple companies or multiple people, there's people that aren't going to call them back. So by being the first one to respond, you have a much better chance of converting that lead into a sale.
Very, very important best practice. If you can't see our passion in it, we'll try harder. But obviously, we believe in what we're saying, and we actually do what we say. If you contact us, we will contact you back quickly. So test us. See what happens. Go to our website. Go to our site greeter service that's on there. Type out a quick message. We'll be forwarded. Any questions that you got, we would love to be able to help you. So
as soon as the webinar ends, we'll call you.
Yeah. Maybe while we're sitting here, someone will throw my iPhone at me. I'll call you live. You never know. But anyway,
Let me add something if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I was thinking this back to the first question you asked me for 2017. The whole reason you do marketing, invest money or spend time in marketing, is to generate opportunities that turn into revenue, right? And so make sure as you're planning all your marketing initiatives, you're also planning how to respond to opportunities or leads that you generate or opportunities that you generate. So get a CRM. And I don't care if it's a spreadsheet, a Google Docs, a Google spreadsheet. There's tons of inexpensive CRM platforms out there. That's a whole other webinar in and of itself that we're going to do. If you want some more detailed information on that, feel free to go to our website, fill out a form, let us know on the webinar in the chat that you want to get some more information. We'll contact you directly to have a deeper discussion. But have a CRM set up so you can track your opportunities. And CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. It's not only for your customers, but it's also for managing sales pipelines and potential opportunities. Because it's not just that initial follow-up you have to do with companies or people that are trying to do business with you or that you're trying to do business with. You have to make sure that you continue to follow up, you plan the next steps, you plan what you're going to do to move the process along. And a good CRM system will help you do that and not let things slip through the cracks. This will definitely increase your revenues in 2017.
I'd also like to talk about first impressions, and I think this is the kind of the conversation that we're having here. Your first impression is so critically important. And, obviously your website is going to be the first thing that people judge you by, or the first thing that people start to decide whether they like you or whether they don't. But, we had a client not too long ago, and we were generating all these leads for them, and we knew that we were doing a great job, and they were calling us saying, hey, this really isn't working, and we were confused. So what we did is we actually pretended we were a customer, and we called into their company. And what we found was we were getting passed from one person to another person to another person to another person, all through this kind of supply chain of people. and we really ended up lost. So, if you're a business owner out there, what is the first impression of potential customers contacting you? And do this. Have somebody, a third party or a friend or what, contact your company and see what that first impression looks like. Here when you call our phones, 9 times out of 10, a human is going to answer the phone. We want to make sure when you reach out to us that we're going to be right there. We're going to answer. You got somebody to talk to. If they don't have the answers, they're going to get the right person on the phone quickly without being passed through a phone tree that just makes people frustrated. I mean, who doesn't get frustrated when you're calling up Comcast or one of these other companies and they're just passing you around from left to right? So concentrate on your first impression and how important that is. Study yourself. So that would be my recommendation. Marshall, what are some things that really, I know you've been talking to a lot of different companies, you've been working with our current clients. What are some areas that people are starting to really focus on for 2017? Maybe some best practices, or maybe some things that are working for them that you would recommend our audience does the same.
I sound like I'm beating a drum here, but it's all about content and putting together those stories, creating stories that tell what it is, why you're the best, why people should buy from you. It's things that we're pushing really hard this year because we know how important it is. There's a lot of noise out there in the industry, and it's tough to sell anymore. But if you can really tell your story and make it, just where it's a no-brainer, why wouldn't I buy from this company? It just makes the whole sales process so much easier. And like Nelson said, it attracts people to your website because it helps with the Google rankings, which helps with your SEO, and it really does prime the pump for you.
And it separates them too, doesn't it? I mean, because when somebody's got a really good story and they're being human about it, like you said, people buy from people.
That's right.
Then it really sets them apart from the competition.
That's right.
Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
So let me ask Nelson this, because we just had a conversation this morning about the difference between inputs and outputs. So if you're gonna make some recommendations to our audience and say, hey, listen, if you're gonna get a marketing message out there, it should be output focused, correct?
Yes.
Can you explain to the audience what that means?
Lead with typical client successes. Talk about how you've helped other similar clients as them, and interview your clients. Ask them what their experience has been with you. Ask them why they chose you. Ask them, what were some of the decision criteria they looked at. Do interviews with your current clients. Do interviews with your salespeople. Really truly understand what your value proposition is in the marketplace, and that will really help you with getting the right type of content that's going to resonate. Making sure that you come up with content around the typical challenges that your ideal client faces on a regular basis. Let your potential clients know that you understand their world better than anybody else. And if you kind of follow just those few tips, you'll create the right type of content, not me content, but hey, we understand our potential buyers better than anyone else type of content.
Isn't it just a kind of a difference, Nelson? Like you're instead of thinking the way that we want to think, which is easy for us, kind of our worldview, it's so much better to put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yep.
Put yourself in the client's shoes, or your potential prospect shoes, or whoever your customer is, and think about it. What is their problems? What are their anxieties? What are their interests? What are their needs? What are those things that keep them awake at night that you might be able to solve for them? If you can speak to those specific areas, their problems, their anxieties, their interests, and their needs, you're going to have a much better conversation, because now they're actually going to be listening. Because these are the things that they think about 90% of the time.
Yep. And here's the beauty of it. If you take the time to put that content together, whether it's videos, whether it's blogs, whether it's articles, not only will it help you market and generate inbound opportunities, but you'll also be able to use it during your sales process. So it's a double-edged sword once you actually get in the habit of creating this content.
That's right. Ask your sales team, what questions do customers ask you over and over and over again? What problems do they present to you, or how does your product or offering solve that? And make sure that you capture all those answers, and it's all on your website, so someone can come to your website and say, that's exactly what I need.
Great. So Christian's in the background back there, and I'm going to ask him a question. Do you have anybody that has any questions from chat, or anything that you think we should answer at this point?
Yes. Julie asked, What first steps should a business owner take when they feel as if their business is stagnant and not growing the way they want to? As a business owner myself, I sometimes feel overwhelmed as to all this digital stuff.
All right.
So what the question is, what are the first steps a business owner should take when they feel stagnant or they're having a difficulty growing? I'm going to let Nelson handle this because I can see him chomping at the
Yep. If possible, I'll make an assumption here that you've been working in the business, you've been working your butt off. If that's the case, take a step back, take a 3 or 4 day vacation, go do something you enjoy. Clear your mind, get out of the business, and then when you come back to the business, you'll be recharged. That's the best time to really inject some energy into a business that you feel is stagnant. Now, the next thing after you kind of are recharged, and you got to be energized. If you're saying your business feels stagnant, that means you're not energized and it's kind of humdrum and boring, or you're grinding, right? And so you're not enjoying life if the business is stagnant. Go talk to your customers. Go talk to some of your favorite customers and get some information from them about what they enjoy about working with you. Get some positive reinforcement from your existing customers. That'll recharge you. While you're doing that, as they're giving you that positive reinforcement, ask for referrals from your best customers. Say, hey, I appreciate all the nice things you've said about me. Do you mind if I use some of what you said in our materials? Boom, you have content. Number 2, you don't say number 2 to them, but then you ask them, do you know anybody else like you that would enjoy working with us the way that you've enjoyed working with us? Could you give me 2 or 3 names that I could call? So get referrals from some of your best clients, get content from some of your best clients, but if you're feeling stagnant, that positive reinforcement you can get from just a sit-down coffee or lunch with one of your favorite clients, or 2 or 3 or 5 of your favorite clients, that positive reinforcement can kind of really put energy back into your step.
Another question, I might ask myself is, what have I done in the past? Again, a lot of this takes reflection, right?
Yep.
You want to settle yourself down, make sure you're in a positive frame of mind, and then ask yourself a few questions. What have I done in the past that's been successful, and what am I doing presently that's either working or not working, and then what can I do in the future? And that's where you actually do get energy, is when you start planning and you're putting ideas in place and you're working maybe with some outside third-party friends or consultants or people that can really help you think through some of your processes. This is where you get excited again. All right, what would my business look like if we went from here to here? How do we get ourselves out of this place? That's when you start getting excited. I would also recommend, this is from personal experience, get creative. Try some things that are new. Try some things that even scare you a little bit. Maybe you should be out there speaking about your business. Maybe you should be out hiring a new person that you've never hired before. But try some new things, because if you keep doing the same thing over and over, and the rest of the sentence for that, it's the definition of insanity. So, Marshall, what would you recommend to somebody that's kind of stuck and they really just want to go to the next level?
What goes back to what you said earlier is look at a lot of the things that you're doing internally, see if it's delivering value, if it's helping, if it's benefiting, or if it's just something that it's what you've always done. If it's something that has no value, or it's just something that you've always done that way, but you really can't see it being necessary anymore, just get rid of it and just focus on those things that are working well. And like you said, look at things a little bit differently. Do things a little bit differently. Try something new. Just innovate. Be innovative.
Great. Christian, what else we got? Any other questions from?
Yes, Keith asked, can you speak in more detail on using social media for marketing? That seems to be very popular recently, and I'm thinking about getting my business into it.
It's a great question, and a common question, by the way. Social media seems to be this, giant 800-pound gorilla, and it is very difficult if you don't have intricate knowledge and expertise. But I'm going to let Nelson kind of share his thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'll start with this one. I really love social media. We've been doing social media marketing since MySpace. And I love MySpace because that's how my wife found me.
Didn't you meet your wife on
I was
MySpace?
just gonna say.
Wow.
So I'm a huge fan of social media. Social media for business, however.
He put a ring on it
I did.
because of MySpace, folks.
I'd like to see that MySpace profile.
Oh man, I bet it's still out there. I hope not.
Now, wait a second. Did you reach out to her, or did she reach out to you?
She reached out to me.
Yeah.
I'm sure she says the other way around.
Yeah, maybe we can get her on one of these interviews.
What?
Yeah.
Fact check.
We're gonna fact check. We'll go to Politico. We'll fact check that one.
So no, social media. People are on social media. Billion users on Facebook, over a billion users globally. LinkedIn has over 500 million users. LinkedIn's a business social network. Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube is a social network full of videos. I mean, you should absolutely be involved as a business. Now, what is the definition of involved? That's where it takes some thinking and some strategy. So first is understanding where your potential clients are participating, number one, what type of, and then again, before you start getting involved in social media, you want to make sure you have a plan of what you're going to start posting on social media. What you don't want to do is start posting a bunch of random stuff that has no relevance whatsoever to the people you're trying to influence to call you. So then you kind of have to consider the other facet is, what is the objective of my involvement with social media? Is it to generate more brand awareness? Do I really want to create engagement and start one-to-one conversations with people to generate leads? So there's a lot of questions, but the overall question, should you get involved, I think was your question, right, Christian?
Yes.
Then the answer is absolutely yes. In some way, you should be involved with social media. The level at which you're involved, that's, there's more discussion needed there.
And I think something that's important is, marketing is testing. So you really need to take a sampling of what it is that you're trying to do. Like, let's say you're going to do spend on ads. Well, you don't want to go out and just spend tens of thousands of dollars to see if it works. That obviously isn't prudent. But if you could do a small budget and test out some certain ads, and again, if you need some help on some of these ideas, contact us. This is what we do.
Yep.
This is where we specialize. And often people just need help. They need to know the right direction. We'd be more than happy to put you in that right direction. But even with plenty of our clients, we recommend a small test first, and then if it's successful, then we just continue to build on it. We want to exploit those successes. So that would be my 2 cents on it. Let's get one more question. I think we're going to wrap this up. We want to keep our webinars short before we get off on a tangent here. So, Christian, what?
Let's see if we can get another good one that a lot of people like. Okay, here's one that we haven't touched on too much, but I think would be good. Joey asks, what are your thoughts on direct mail? Do y'all think it's still worth it in this day and age where digital marketing is taking over?
So what are your thoughts on direct mail? I can share, a little bit of, often when we're going with the crowd and we're going downstream with everybody, often that's not necessarily the best tactic or the best methodology. So, with direct mail, we test everything. Direct mail may work for a specific industry, but may fall on its face for another industry. And especially with the advent of the internet and the trackability, we can actually put together direct mail pieces, and then we can track them back to a specific website and see if that direct marketing is actually working. So the answer is possibly. We would want to test it and measure it and make sure that we tweak it before we could absolutely say, hey, this is something that you need to invest all of your time and energy into, and money, most importantly. But I think there's different tools out there, and I don't think print is dead. I think print is something that you want to consider and you want to test, and then see if it works with your digital marketing strategies. So that would be my answer to that one. So
I concur.
I agree completely. I mean, don't take anything off the table. Try it all, test it all, use the tracking mechanisms, use everything. If you have a highly segmented list of high propensity to buy buyers and you think that it might work through direct mail, that might be the extra bit to get through the noise and to make that connection and engage that potential customer, give it a test.
absolutely. Well, listen, I think we should wrap it up. We couldn't say thank you more. We really appreciate everybody that took your time today, and I know it's valuable. We really appreciate you listening to us. And if you have any feedback or thoughts, shoot us a message. We're easy to find. You can go to interchanges.com. There's literally a chat window that'll pop up. If you've got any comments, questions, you need a phone call from us, just type out that information. There'll actually be a live person that'll greet you there and say hello, welcome to Interchanges. And we'd be more than happy to keep in touch. Anything else, last thoughts?
I'll just say that I'm glad you joined us today. This is going to be the first of many of these live webinars, these live streams that we're doing. We're going to start really planning our content calendar out of what we're going to be discussing. And so we certainly hope you'll join us in the future as topics pique your interest.
I think you identified a couple today that we can
Yeah.
go ahead and follow up. And if anyone has ideas or questions or ideas for webinars, please let us know, and we'd be happy to do some research and give you our experience and come right back to you with it.
Now, I'll just leave you with this. Interchanges, our mission statement is to help others reach exceptional levels of success while having lots of fun along the way. So that's who we are. That's what we do. That's what gets us bouncing out of bed in the morning. And we're just we're appreciative of you taking your time to listen. So thank you, and have an amazing week.
Thank you.
All right, good.
Good job, guys.
We should do more of these.
What's that?
We should do more of these.
I had my glasses hanging in my pocket the whole time. That's funny.